more on that story, we can now speak to the ANC Youth League Task Team convener, Nonceba Mhlauli. A very good evening to you, ma'am. Thank you for your time. So, members of the ANC Youth League were among those who were out today saying they were going to protect the party headquarters, Luthuli House, from the DA demonstrators. What would have been the harm in allowing them to march all the way there today?
Good evening, Temekile. I think first and foremost, what the DA attempted to do today, and it's actually good that they actually didn't arrive at Luthuli House, is a dangerous attempt to want to set a precedence of trying to blur the lines between party and state. The DA is very much aware that the seat of government is not at Luthuli House. The DA is very much aware that the seat of ESCOM is not Luthuli House. And them marching to Luthuli House is in actual fact setting a dangerous precedence of blurring the lines between party and state. There is a government which is represented in Parliament, through members of Parliament who then become appointed as members of the executive, as led by the President, who was democratically elected in Parliament, and who are responsible, A, for running the affairs of the state, B, for running different ministries, and C, being the executive authority which oversees entities. Now, and they know this very well, being the official opposition. And them attempting to come to Luthuli House is not only childish, misplaced, and mischievous, but most importantly, blurs or attempts to blur the lines between party and state. A couple of years ago, the then SG of the ANC, made particular utterances about the then board of the SABC. The media and the Africans, pointed out that the SG of the ANC actually has no business, making particular utterances around a functioning of a state-owned entity on the basis that there are governance structures in place that ought to be dealing with that. And the ANC as the governing party has its employees in government responsible to deal with that.
But that's also a key point, is it not? So it's one thing for the DA to march, let's say, directly to the offices of the Public Enterprises Department, but the policies being enforced within that department and the other ministries involved in this crisis would have been crafted and agreed upon at ANC gatherings, and those very deployees would have been in Parliament in those ministries on an ANC ticket. So is it really that absurd to say, as John Steenhuisen was saying, let's go to the root, basically, where all of these people and the policies were brought up and put in government?
No, it's quite absurd, and I'll tell you why. First and foremost, you have the DA, which is the official opposition in Parliament. You have the DA, which is the official opposition in Parliament, which fails to hold the executive accountable as they ought to as the official opposition in Parliament. Just 2 days ago, Temekile, ESCOM board with the executive was its scoper. The DA didn't ask the rater, who is paid. The rater is paid and he's employed to keep our lights on. The rater and his entire executive. Even right now, I'm at UJ at the symposium, and we are being affected by load shedding as we're seeing the lights going on and off. The rater was appointed to keep our lights on with his entire executive. Instead of the DA holding the person who gets paid every month to keep our lights on, they don't do that. They don't go to SCOPA, ask the rater very important questions about what is the turnaround plan to ensure that we have a consistent, uninterrupted supply of energy. Instead, they want to redirect the conversation because they don't want to take it to the people who are responsible to keeping our lights on. If you've been employed, Temekile, to be a TV presenter and you're not doing your job, we should be able to say, we've appointed this person to do A, B, and C. This person is not doing A, B, and C. Let's review their performance.
Right. And he was appointed, was he not, though, Nonceba? Pardon me for jumping in. Andre de Ruyter himself, through the various years where we've seen load shedding worsen, he was appointed and not held adequately accountable, or even sacked, as some have suggested, by the ANC government, which put him there. So the party's not fully absolved of responsibility in the crisis.
And I'm happy that you say that. You say the ANC-led government, and that's the point that we're trying to make. We are not saying that no one should be held accountable. As the Youth League, for an example, as far back as 2 years ago, we said that the CEO and his executive needs to go. We said that the then board, and we are very happy that the then board is no longer there. We said that we need to look into a redeployment of the executive authority in that particular ministry. As far back as 2 years ago, we've never said there shouldn't be accountability, but we are saying it is the ANC-led government. And what is the seat of government? The seat of government is Pretoria. The union buildings is in Pretoria. The Ministry of Public Enterprise, the Ministry of Energy is also in Pretoria. Eskom Megawatt Park is in Sandton. What we are, in fact, as the Youth League, we will be marching to Megawatt Park in about 2 weeks to state our grievances as young people who are heavily affected by load shedding, as I'm being affected right now as I'm doing this interview. So no one has said no one should be made accountable. We said there is a government in place, and that government, the seat of that government is Pretoria. So let's take our grievances to the seat of government, because it is an ANC-led government. It is not Luthuli House. That is the government. The Luthuli House is a party headquarters. The seat of government that is occupied by ANC employees who ought to account to us is in Pretoria.
So the ANC government was in place when the first warnings were brought up about South Africa facing the risk of running into a problem around energy generation and being able to keep homes and businesses electrified at all times for everyone. 2008, the first power cuts began. Now, about 15 years on, it's still the ANC government that's still in place. What consequences, what sanctions should it face?
First and foremost, the ANC-led government actually started speaking about the energy issues that Africa has far back as 2003. There's actually a renewables energy white paper that was published by government as far back as 2003, where it actually speaks about some of the risks. It identified some of the long-term risks that you'll find that we would have encountered at the time. Even the discussion around the just energy transition, the discussion around the unbundling of Eskom is a discussion that was introduced by the ANC government, as you say, as far back as 2003. Correct. 2 days ago, the president of the ANC led of the country, when he was in KZN, gave a very detailed account of what would have happened over the past 20 years to have gotten us to the point at which we are at right now. You would also remember that in 2016, 2017, it was again the ANC-led government that said, you know what, some of the decisions that we would have taken to this point actually have not assisted us insofar as fixing or addressing our energy challenges, which is why you would have seen in Parliament, the Eskom inquiry which led to, changes not only in the board, in the management structures, but also bringing to book some of those people that would have found to be responsible or allegedly responsible for malfeasance. And then there was a change in leadership, which is the leadership that we have right now at the entity. So the ANC-led government has always been very consistent in terms of identifying the challenges. Right now, I'm at a symposium with academics, with the Minister of Energy, the Minister of Public Enterprises, international bodies, etc. As part of saying this has been the problem over the past X amount of period. Where we are right now, we need certain interventions that are going to deal with the issue of load shedding in the short and medium and long term. And that's the conversation that we're having right now. Never has the ANC-led government said that we absolve ourselves. And I would actually vehemently differ with anyone who would claim that.
So the ANC has failed, though, on the energy front, because all of the talking and analysis of the problem means sweet nothing if we're all unable to have electricity 24 hours a day without sharing.
The ANC-led government is hard at work to resolve the energy crisis.
But it has failed. If it's taken 15 years to fix a problem flagged in 2003 by your own account, it's a failure, Nonceba.
No, I do not agree with that. The ANC-led government has just on Sunday, this past Sunday, released a report of the energy, the energy crisis committee, which gives a very detailed account of the work that has gone into resolving the energy crisis.
How do you convince people, though, that the ANC government hasn't failed? Pardon me, when just before we came to air, we were told...
I didn't answer the question.
Yes. You were saying we're losing you slightly.
I'm trying to answer the question.
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
I'm saying we're starting to lose you slightly. I suspect it has to do with the load shedding where you were, which is why I was trying to squeeze in one last question. But if you can, in 30 seconds, then wrap up the response.
So the point that I'm making is that the ANC-led government has been very upfront about the challenges facing Eskom as an SOE. The ANC-led government is hard at work to find lasting solutions to the problem, which is why even right now, as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm at a symposium with academics, energy experts, international figures, government officials, so that we can come together to say, these are the problems and how do we solve them.
But do you agree, though, it's hard to convince people who tonight, it's 23 minutes past 6 now, who will be load shed at 8 and are now hearing that tomorrow we're going to stage 4 and 5 load shedding until Sunday. There hasn't been a day this year where there hasn't been load shedding. It's hard to convince them that all of this talking and analysis that the ANC has done has paid off when in the last 12 months, in fact, the situation has gone from bad to worse.
Remember, part of the reason we have load shedding is around the issue one of maintenance, which is important. And in fact, in the address of the president about 2 days ago, he actually spoke about the fact that there was a time in which there was a decision that was made to stop maintenance. And that decision, which was a decision that was made by the then executive and the then board, is actually part of the reason that we are at where we find ourselves here today, wherein because of the decision to delay the maintenance of our plants, we now find ourselves in a situation whereby the maintenance work is heavily disruptive all our lives. And we share the frustration because we ourselves get load shed. I'm load shed right now. Young people could not even write the matric exams because of the issue of load shedding. And we've said that we've never denied the fact that it is a frustration that is caused by everyone. But what we are also saying is that where we are right now, we need to fix the problem.
Okay.
Eskom, for example, is saying that it will take us about 18 months to fix the problem. And we are saying that we don't have 18 months. They need to give us a short-term solution in the immediate. What are we doing in the immediate? What are we doing in the medium term? And what are we doing in the long term?
Nonceba Mhlauli, ANC Youth League task team convener at a load shed venue, in fact, where the ANC is dealing with the issue of load shedding. Thank you for your time.